Hi guys, it's Paula and I hope you are doing well. This is going to be another month of shopping our stash. This is a collaboration I do with my friend Elizabeth. I will have her channel linked down below so that you could see her video. We've been collaborating since January to choose one shade or color a month and shop our eyeshadow stash to see what eyeshadows we have in that shade. We've kept it kind of open-ended, and usually the shadows have been related to whatever holiday or theme that month was all about. So for January, we did Living Coral, the Pantone color of the year. Living Coral, it is Living Coral, right? I think that's what it's called. For February, we did a baby pink. For March, we did a Kelly green. For April, we did lavender. For May, we don't really have a whole lot going on during the month holiday-wise, so I made a special request to Elizabeth, and being the good friend that she is, she came through. And my request was that we did a shopping our stash for a very special and specific eyeshadow. This one right here. This shadow has been in my Pan That palette all year long. It is originally a Mary Kay eyeshadow in the shade Dusty Pink, I believe, or yeah, I think it's called Dusty Pink. It's a Mary Kay eyeshadow. This is their old shape of pan. Now their pans are just smaller rectangles, and I love this shade of eyeshadow. I love this shade of eyeshadow so much that I can work it into a look pretty much every day, although I don't necessarily. I love this eyeshadow so much that even though I still have probably more than half of the pan left of product, I'm getting some initial anxiety at the thought of me using up this eyeshadow, despite the fact that I put it in my Pan That palette to use it up. I'm going back to some old ways of thinking, like, I love this eyeshadow so much I don't want to use it, which I'm trying to break myself of. It's a backwards way to think. You should use the things you love. But when I really, really love something so much, I tend to save it like it's too precious to use up. And so I requested that we do this shade this month so I could get over my anxiety. Do you guys remember when there was a tag going around last summer, last fall, called My Favorite Shade in Every Palette, something along those lines? I think it was created by two women, Spooky Lips and Fat Hips and Georgia Harris. I'm not sure. I think they were the co-creators of that tag. Anyways, I never did that tag. And do you know why I never did that tag? Because I already knew before ever filming that video, before ever even considering filming that video, that if I was to try and attempt that tag, every favorite shade in every palette would be this shade right here. I love this color so much. I think it is the perfect transition shade, and that's primarily how I use it. I have it today, and I just start by applying it right in my crease and blend it upwards to my brow bone highlight, and I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. So, I have good news. I can calm the heck down about worrying about running out of this shadow, because it turns out, after going through all of my eyeshadows yesterday, I have about 19 spot-on dupes and another 2 piles of eyeshadow that are close dupes. So calm down, Paula. It's gonna be all right. You are gonna be okay if you use up this eyeshadow. I am so relieved to be able to show this to myself, to be able to show myself with hard, cold facts that I can dupe my favorite eyeshadow color ever within my own stash, and I can stop worrying about the what ifs should I ever use this shadow up. Let's get into it. Because I actually have the eyeshadow I'm trying to dupe, I'm gonna start by swatching that. Poor Elizabeth over in Denmark is only going by photos and videos she's seen of this shadow because she doesn't have this exact color for reference, so she's doing her best over in Europe to dupe this shadow. But this is the shadow right here. It's actually quite light. There's not a lot of depth to this eyeshadow. When I swatch it on my hand, it barely even shows up. On my eyes, it is much more vibrant, but on my hand, it doesn't look like a whole lot of anything, but I am telling you, this is a special eyeshadow. Have I mentioned that yet? This is special. So I'm gonna start by swatching this one for reference. Okay, as I said, it looks like nothing, but this is it right here. I guess you can see it best when I turn my hand this way. That's all it looks like. It doesn't look like much, but this is possibly the most important eyeshadow I own, or at least the shade. So let's start making comparisons. Right off the bat, the first shadow I wanted to compare this shadow to is this one right here. This came from Smashbox Trio. This was a Sephora limited edition trio that I bought last year, and I know that we're all kind of drawn to these glittery shades over here, but the real gem is this guy right here. He's the gem. So I'm gonna swatch him first, and yeah, it's a pretty close dupe. I mean, if you see them side by side, they look a little different, but when you swatch them, well, they look a little different as well, but it'll serve the same function. So there's the Mary Kay one, there's the Smashbox one. I think I got even closer to my Dusty Rose shadow or my Dusty Pink shadow in this Too Faced Razzle Dazzle Berry eyeshadow palette. Again, at first glance, you're much more drawn to these shades over here, but the real gem is this guy right there. He is a beauty. He is called Pink Suede. What a perfect name for this color of eyeshadow. And this palette smells amazing. All right, Dusty, Mary Kay, Dusty Pink, Smashbox, Too Faced. We're getting there. Up next, we have the Stila Eyes Are the Window Mind Palette. It's the all matte one that looks like this. I'm going to swatch this guy right here for you. I have so much fun doing these videos because it's just such a great excuse to just look at all these eyeshadows that I own and remind myself of what I have and that I really don't need anything. I'm good. All right, this one is another light one. I put it right here. It's a little bit more neutral than pink, but again, I think it can do the job quite well. Still haven't found a dead-on dupe though. That was the closest, I think. All right, let's try the Too Faced White Peach palette. I still haven't used, well, honestly, I still haven't used any of these eyeshadows on my eyes yet because I'm ridiculous. All right, I think the closest option in this palette is going to be this one right here called Peach Suede. So I'll swatch that one. Although there are a lot of very lovely transition shades that are my kind of transition shades, either peachier or pinkier, but let's try Peach Suede. Smells so good. All right, it's a little bit on the peachy, warmer side, but again, not too bad. Not too bad at all. All right, there are two shadows that look like they are exactly the same to the naked eye in this Huda Beauty New Nudes palette. I haven't played with this palette yet either on my eyes, but when I look down at this palette like this, they look pretty much identical. I am talking about this shade right here called Secret and this shade right here called Teddy. I mean, the differences are pretty subtle between those two shades, but I think both of them are pretty close to my Dusty Rose shade from Mary Kay. That one might be the closest. I don't know. They seem identical. Okay, here I have Secret on this finger and Teddy on this finger. Again, I can see a difference, but it's pretty darn subtle. Both are much more vibrant and pigmented than my Mary Kay one and deeper. So that one is Teddy and that one is Secret. right? Yeah, Teddy Secret. This is the Mary Kay one once again that I'm trying to dupe. I think the closest one is either the Stila or the Too Faced palette so far. I don't think I filmed a single shopping my stash collab video without incorporating this guy into it, and I found a really, really good dupe in the My e.l.f. 100 pan palette. It is this shadow right here. Isn't that beautiful? Might be the next one I try to hit pan on, guys. Might be. That is really close. Okay, so here is the Mary Kay shadow right there. There's the e.l.f. 100 pan. I think I'm getting there. All right, another one that has made frequent reappearances in my shopping my stash is the BH Cosmetics Eyes on the 60s palette. The shadow that I think is the closest, although a little bit pinkier, I believe, is this guy right here. And he's just a little brighter and more vibrant than my dusty pink, but in a pinch, I think I could make it work. Yep. I definitely could make this work. There it is right there. You can see it's a little bit pinkier than dustier, but not bad. I think these are the most beautiful swatches. They are so boring, and yet they make me happier than a lot of other colors that I could put on my eyes. All right, the next two shades I'm gonna swatch are from the Lorac Pro 2 and the Lorac Pro 4, the Mega Pros, I should say. From the Pro 2, Mega Pro 2, I have the shade Sorbet, which is right there. It looks so muted compared to all these other beautiful shadows, but that's my baby. And I have to say that I can spot this shade a mile away. Like when I see it, I know it. And like you can tell from the swatches, they're not all dead on dupes, but my eyes just immediately gravitate towards the shade in a palette. And the rest of the palette could look like total poop, but if it has the shadow in it, I kind of want it. All right, Sorbet. Sorbet is beautiful, beautiful. There's Sorbet right there. There's Mary Kay right there. Again, very close, a little bit more pigmented, but very close. And in the Mega Pro 4, I have Flamingo, which is this one right there. Different than Sorbet, lighter, pinkier. There's Flamingo right there. There's Sorbet, Mary Kay. If I was to make an eyeshadow palette, it would look like this. That's what Paula's eyeshadow palette would look like. If you're listening Too Faced, you know, we could make this happen. Okay, a palette I've never touched even once, but have had for years. Let's look at the Lorac Mint Edition Eye Cheek palette. It looks like this. It is gorgeous. It's adorable. I think I bought this off of Haute Look, but I've never used it even once. The closest shadow to my beloved Dusty Pink is this guy right here. He looks a little bit grayish brownish in the palette, but when I swatched him last night, he looked promising. All right. Yeah, maybe a little bit brownish. Right there. Not bad. Not bad. It'll work. All right, Too Faced Gingerbread Spice palette. Looky at my cookie. Looky at my cookie right there. Might not smell like gingerbread, but it still smells really good. This is a little bit peachier. Yeah, right there. But still, yeah, it's not as dusty, but it could work. In a pinch, it could work. All right, I've been having so much fun with my depotted shadows in my Pan That palette this year that I had to go through my depotted shadows to look for a dupe, and I found one. I don't recall for sure what brand this is. I believe it's an Estee Lauder shadow, but I'm honestly not 100% sure, but it looks like that. This might be the lightest out of all of them. But again, it's close. It looks a lot like the Mary Kay one. So yeah, it's hard to see. There's the Estee Lauder right there. There's the Mary Kay right there. It's really light, but it's actually a really close match. It'll work. I've used this palette once, but I didn't use the shade that I'm gonna talk about. This is the Ulta Beauty and Melissa Michelle Bling on the Glam collab palette. I did a get ready with me around the holidays using this palette. But the shade that I am interested in for today's video is called 100%. It looks like that. Isn't that beautiful? All these fancy glittery shades, and I think this is the prettiest shadow in the palette. I honestly do. I just love this color. That is stunning. I'm just amazed that all these shadows are so similar but so different. This is the Melissa Michelle one right there. There's my Mary Kay one that we started with. I think they're pretty close actually, really close. I really wanted to remind myself that just because it's not an eyeshadow doesn't mean it can't be used for this purpose. This dusty pink is found in a lot of blushes throughout my collection, and although I did not go through my entire blush collection, I figured I would go through a couple, and I found some really close dupes right off the bat. The first one comes from this Tarte palette. This is the Clay Play Volume 2, and the blush in this palette is stunning, and it is a really close dupe from my Dusty Rose shade right there. This is called Desert. It's like a desert rose, and I just love it. I love that shadow. Oh my gosh. All right, let's see how this one compares. We're just gonna keep going. We only got a couple more. Oh my gosh, that is so gorgeous. There's the blush right there. That's Desert Rose. There's the Mary Kay shadow. I think it's pretty close. Obviously a lot more pigmented, but maybe a little bit more warm. All right, in this Depotted Z palette of blushes, I actually have two blushes that would be close dupes for my shadow, and one of them is actually a Mary Kay blush. The first one I wanted to talk about though is a Makeup Geek blush. This is called Spellbound, and it's right here. And then the other one is this old Mary Kay blush. I don't think it's gonna have the name on it, but let me check. No, I don't recall what name this is, but this one and this one are both lovely eyeshadow shades. Probably lovely blush shades too, but that's not what we're talking about today. Gorgeous. They look pretty close to each other. All right, this is the Spellbound from Makeup Geek. Look at that. And this is the Mary Kay one. I think both of those are really close dupes to this Mary Kay eyeshadow right there. And lovely, just lovely. I'm so excited to be doing this video. I know this is probably the most boring video ever, but I am so excited about this video. All right, and finally, I have another palette of Depotted blushes. And I think this half of the, what were these called? These were hard candy blushes, or were they Fox in a Box or something? This half of the blush and this blush right here from Avon are both would make absolutely lovely transition shades for this eyeshadow look that I just love. I just love it. All right, let's swatch them. I think the hard candy one is going to be a little bit brown, but it would still be absolutely lovely. All right, this is the hard candy one right here. And this is the Avon one right there. It's pretty light. this is my ideal palette right there. That's all I need. Give me that and like one shimmery shade and I'm good to go. So, obviously in a swatch that is pigmented and very concentrated, we can see all of these little differences, but sheared out with a wispy brush in my transition area, these shadows are all gonna give the exact same effect as this Mary Kay eyeshadow that I am so in love with. I need to calm down. I need to take a breath because I am gonna be just okay if I use this shadow. Now, in doing my research for this video, I did go on the Mary Kay website and I did confirm that they are still selling this specific eyeshadow. This is still for sale on the Mary Kay website. So even though I don't plan to go out and buy this shadow once I use it up, there is something reassuring knowing that it still exists and is out there. Like, it's still out there. It's okay. I bought this 20 years ago and it's still out there. There are some things that still stick around in the makeup community after 20 years. There aren't too many of them, but this is one of them. So that does give me some peace of mind, but most importantly, finding 19 dupes for this eyeshadow gave me the most peace of mind. I also found some very, very lovely shadows that were beautiful, but not quite the same as these. They were even more different, either because they were much more peachy or much more like pinky purpley, but still absolutely gorgeous. But these were the ones that were the closest to my Mary Kay eyeshadow that we are shopping our stash for today. What do you think? Do you guys love this color as much as I do? Am I like the only person on earth who's obsessed with this color? I know I'm not. I know I'm not the only person on earth who's obsessed with this color, but I love this color so very much, so very much. And I just think it is one of those colors that I can't imagine having makeup without having that color. Like, I need it. I need it in my life, and I needed this video to show me that I have it and I can calm down. I hope I haven't been sounding a little strange throughout this video, but I don't know if I have allergies or what, but my ear is filled with fluid and I'm not in any pain, but I just feel weird. I feel weird and I feel like I sound weird and I feel like I'm talking weird. I don't know if you guys are noticing any of this, but this ear is driving me a little bit nuts. I do hope you guys go check out Elizabeth's video. I cannot wait to see how she did this without having the shadow for reference. She showed me the pictures of the swatches she came up with and she looked like she was spot on with matching that color. I can't wait to see what palettes and what brands those eyeshadows came from. So I will leave her channel linked down below. I hope you guys go check it out. Tell her I sent you, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye.